Welcome to the Coleman Evaluation of Living Skills. Today we're going to assess if some of our farm friends have the independent living skills needed to function in the world. Before we begin, let's talk about what the KELS assessment is. The purpose of this assessment is to determine a person's ability to live independently by evaluating essential life skills. It's a great tool for occupational therapists to use to identify areas where an individual may need some additional support. The KELS assessment is typically utilized for individuals that are recovering from a stroke, a traumatic brain injury, a spinal cord injury, or cognitive impairment. All right, let's go meet our friends and we'll talk more about the KELS assessment. For reliability, the KELS assessment has pretty strong inter-rater reliability with a coefficient of 0.9, which makes it a very dependable tool. For validity, the KELS assessment measures exactly what it's intended to. It also has a strong criterion-related validity. This assessment is pretty reliable and valid for humans. Let's see how it holds up on my patient today. I'm going to assess Teddy's money management. So let's see if he can manage his farm purchases wisely. Teddy has $4 to spend, his sweet feed is $5, and his hay is $3. Let's see what he chooses. Impulse spending, no concept of budgeting. We're going to mark that as needs assistance. So the KELS assessment is an interview or an observation-based assessment, and so based off of my interview with Teddy here, for transportation and telephone, for mobility within the community, I am marking that as independent. Teddy's community is within this barn here, and he's been here for quite some time, so he is pretty knowledgeable about his mobility in here. Basic knowledge of transit system. Teddy's transit system is a horse trailer, and he's pretty knowledgeable about it and is comfortable with it, so we're going to mark that as independent as well. Use of phone book and telephone. Our option here is non-applicable. Teddy is not utilizing a phone or a phone book, so we're going to mark that as non-applicable. Let's move on to work and leisure. Like I was saying, this assessment is interview or observation-based. So based off of my interview with Teddy about his work and leisure, his plans for future employment are pretty independent. So we're going to mark that as independent. He had stated to me that he is a rope horse and he enjoys that career, so that's independent. And leisure activity involvement, Teddy loves laying in the sun based off of my observation. So we're going to mark that as independent. He's able to complete his leisure activities pretty well, so that will be independent. Completed about 3 out of the 5 assessments today on Teddy. But before we get into his scoring, let's talk about some strengths and weaknesses. A strength of this assessment is that it's pretty quick to administer. It's about 30 to 45 minutes. However, you do have to pay for it. It is not free. For members through AOTA, it's about $99. And for non-members, it's $140. So it is pretty pricey. However, it doesn't take too long to administer. Some supplies that you need are a quiet space, which could be challenging for some environments where you're observing the individual. You just need a quiet space and some basic everyday objects such as money and personal hygiene care items. It assesses multiple OT domains. For occupations, it assesses things like self-care and money management and performance patterns like routines. All right, Teddy, thank you for your contribution and participation with us today. We're going to go put you back and go back to our office to score your independence. All right, we're back at the office. I have Teddy's assessment pulled up here. We're going to go ahead and total up the scores. So for each mark that he has of independence is a point of 0, and each mark that he has of needs assistance is a point of 1. For the last section, work and leisure, if he were to get a needs assistance mark, that is a point of a half point. So when I totaled up his numbers, he received a score of 9 total, and a score of 6 or higher indicates a need for assistance to live independently, and a score of 5.5 or lower would suggest that the client could live independently without assistance. So that's the KELS Assessment Farm Edition. Thank you.